a nation obsessed with control. North Korea remains one of the most mysterious and controlled countries on Earth. In this country, citizens cannot use the global internet but must rely on a state-censored internal network. International phone calls are forbidden, and leaving the country requires special permission. Even something as personal as hairstyle must follow one of 28 approved options. In fact, control in North Korea begins the moment a child is born. Once you enter the world, you are placed into a classification system called Songbun. This system works like a ranking of social status based on family history. If you are born into a loyal family, life is easier with more opportunities in education and work. But if your background is considered unfavorable, your future is largely set, with poor schooling, menial jobs, and relocation to struggling regions. From elementary school, students not only study regular subjects but also take political lessons every day, learning about the greatness of their leader. Books, television, and radio are strictly controlled, showing only what the government allows. When it comes to work, personal choice is absent. The government assigns each person a job and location, and changing careers is almost impossible unless one can pay bribes. Even love and marriage are restricted. People from higher status families may only marry within their group. Those from lower backgrounds have little chance of marrying into a better class. Beyond this, even emotional expression is subject to control. Citizens are expected to cry when seeing Kim Jong-un or during times of national mourning. Could you live in a country where every decision is made for you like that? Comment yes or no below. And get ready to hear things you've never seen in North Korea. 2. Things you will never see in North Korea. In North Korea, most people have no idea what Coca-Cola is, have never seen a McDonald's, and have never tasted an American hamburger. Because the country blocks outside influence, it follows the principle of self-reliance. Whatever foreign nations create, North Korea tries to produce its own version, though the taste, look, and quality are very different. If they cannot make something, then it simply does not exist. You will also rarely find anyone wearing jeans, especially blue ones. Jeans were once viewed as a symbol of American capitalism, so they were banned by the authorities for years. People typically wear uniforms, plain shirts, trousers, or traditional outfits. But anyone walking around in ripped jeans or flashy sneakers would immediately stand out as unusual. For women, the reality is even harder. Walking into a shop, they will notice that basic items such as sanitary pads, tampons, or feminine care products are almost impossible to find. This is because the national economy focuses on heavy industry, military equipment, and defense needs. Producing consumer goods like disposable sanitary pads requires materials and modern technology, which are not prioritized. As a result, women still rely on reusable cloth when menstruating, just like in the past. Technically, sanitary pads do exist, but they are sold on the black market at extremely high prices. So even those who want to use them usually cannot afford to. Another surprising fact is that many North Koreans go through life without even knowing what condoms are. The government promotes population growth to expand its workforce. Because of this, modern contraceptives, including condoms, are not provided or supported. And if you expect technology to change daily life, you will be disappointed. There are no iPhones, no Samsung Galaxy phones, and no MacBooks. People only have local brands with unfamiliar names like Arirang, Jindalai, or Pyongyang. These phones have very simple functions, and also include a feature no one would want, built-in censorship. Every device contains monitoring software that tracks what people do and blocks access to anything the government does not approve. If you are impressed with these, don't forget to hit the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Tap the like button to let us know this content is making a difference. And if you're watching on your phone, be sure to press the hype button right below. Every hype helps this video get published to more people, and it truly supports me in earning extra income. I promise to keep bringing you even more great content. 3. The hardest women to marry in the world. The country is almost completely cut off from the outside world, so Western culture, beauty trends, and cosmetic procedures have no place here. Women maintain their natural features, such as the classic single eyelids of Asians, slim noses, and fair, smooth skin. In terms of fashion, the style is modest and traditional. Long skirts, high collars, long sleeves, and neutral tones are most common. Interestingly, there was a period when women were forbidden to wear pants. The former leader Kim Il-sung believed that trousers were meant only for men. Because of this, women at that time wore skirts almost all the time, ranging from office skirts to traditional dresses that reached the ankles. It was only during Kim Jong-un's rule that this restriction was lifted, and pants were once again accepted. Marriage customs are also very rigid. Women often get married young, usually in their early 20s. Being unmarried at 30 is considered unusual. Divorce is rare, not because couples always live happily, but because separation is socially discouraged. In relationships, women usually take on a passive role, leaving men to decide important matters, from declaring love to setting the wedding day. And if you imagine falling in love with a North Korean woman, marrying her, and taking her abroad, the reality is disappointing. Marriage to foreigners is nearly impossible. The government strictly enforces the idea of protecting the nation's pure bloodline. They believe that unions with outsiders would damage this purity and weaken the loyalty of future generations. What do you think about loyalty? If you think it's crazy, comment the number 4 below and get ready to watch the strange battle ahead. 4. The strange war with South Korea. Everyone knows that North Korea and South Korea are like fire and water. One side is known for bold claims such as, with a single button, we can destroy South Korea, while the other responds with joint military exercises and advanced defense systems. But beyond these serious shows of power, sometimes the rivalry takes on forms that seem almost childish. While North Korea waves its nuclear weapons as a threat, South Korea has chosen a very different but equally effective tool, K-pop. That's right, at one point, the South Korean military installed dozens of massive loudspeakers along the border. Each one stood about 6 meters tall, 3 meters wide, and was strong enough to project sound more than 20 kilometers into North Korean territory. Through these speakers, they broadcast world news, messages about democracy, calls for reunification, and most importantly, popular songs from idol groups filled with rebellious themes meant to inspire freedom. The idea was to let North Korean soldiers and citizens hear the sharp contrast between the two societies. It may sound humorous, but it had real effects. Some North Korean soldiers lost morale, and there were even cases where soldiers risked their lives to cross the border just to hear K-pop. In response, the authorities in Pyongyang ordered harsh punishment, including executions, for anyone caught sharing South Korean music or movies. To them, K-pop is seen as a rotten culture, a dangerous influence that weakens socialist beliefs. Of course, North Korea also retaliated. They set up their own loudspeakers, blasting revolutionary songs, propaganda praising the leadership, and heavy criticism of South Korea. There was even a time when relations improved, and South Korea sent well-known artists to perform in Pyongyang as part of cultural exchange. But the reaction from the North Korean leaders in the audience was striking. While the songs were upbeat and perfect for dancing, the leaders sat stiffly, showing no emotion, only clapping together at the end as though on cue. Some people joked that no matter how friendly the mood was, if anyone dared to smile in front of the cameras, they might face punishment backstage. When tensions rose again, South Korea changed its approach. Instead of music, they sent balloons floating across the border, carrying leaflets, USB drives filled with dramas and K-pop tracks, and even US dollars. The purpose stayed the same, to expose North Koreans to information from the outside. In return, North Korea came up with its own form of retaliation. They launched thousands of balloons filled with garbage into South Korea, totaling around 15 tons, with one even landing near the presidential palace. If you've never heard of this before, type the number 2 in the comments. If not, type number 0 so I know how to serve you better. 5. A modern-day feudal dynasty. North Korea is officially a socialist state, but in practice it functions like a feudal dynasty in the modern era. Power has been passed down like a royal throne, from Kim Il-sung to Kim Jong-il, and then to Kim Jong-un. Now, the spotlight is shifting toward his daughter, Kim Joo-ae. Although still in her early teens, she has already been introduced to the public at important occasions, including military parades and inspections of missile bases. State media has even referred to her as respected, a title usually reserved for the nation's leader. With such recognition, many believe Kim Joo-ae is being prepared to become the country's future crown princess. And like a dynasty, the system comes with strict rules. In North Korea, it is forbidden to share the same name as the leader. This is treated as a serious taboo, similar to traditions in ancient royal courts. The country also follows its own calendar. Instead of using the common era, North Korea uses the Juche calendar, which begins in 1912, the year Kim Il-sung was born. That means while the world recognizes the year 2025, in Pyongyang it is year 114 of the Juche era. Not only rules and power, but even the way the leader is protected carries a dynastic touch. The elite guard unit around Kim Jong-un maintains a family tradition where the role of protecting the leader is handed down from father to son. Men who once protected Kim Il-sung or Kim Jong-il passed the duty to their sons, who now stand watch over Kim Jong-un. And just as in historical courts, struggles for power behind the scenes are fierce. Kim Jong-un's uncle, Jang Song-taek, who was once considered his closest advisor and the second most influential man in the country, was died in 2013 on charges of treason. In 2017, Kim Jong-nam, Kim Jong-un's half-brother, was killed at an airport in Malaysia. He died in less than 20 minutes. Many governments and intelligence services concluded that Kim Jong-un was involved, as Kim Jong-nam had been living in exile and was viewed as a possible rival to the regime. Do you want to learn about a country that's often considered backward and isolated? The facts I've recorded, along with the latest statistics from 2025, will leave you amazed. If you'd like to explore more about this country, I've left a link in the top corner of the screen. I've also placed a direct link to it in the pinned comment below this video. And don't forget to come back, because in the next part you won't believe how much a worker in North Korea makes per month. 6. North Koreans earn only $3 to $10 a month. When I tell people that the average North Korean worker earns between $3 and $10 per month, they usually think I'm exaggerating. But this is the documented reality of North Korea's economic system. A factory worker makes about $3 to $5 monthly. Teachers, despite being responsible for educating the next generation, earn maybe slightly more. Even doctors, who in most countries are well-compensated professionals, make only $10 to $15 per month. Soldiers, who are supposedly the most important people in this military-first society, receive just a few dollars in token salary. The state distribution system, known as the public distribution system, was designed to provide every family with rice, cooking oil, electricity, housing, education, and healthcare. Families regularly go months without receiving their allocated rice rations. Cooking oil becomes so scarce that it's treated like liquid gold. Electricity is available for just a few hours a day in most areas and completely absent in rural regions. The free housing often lacks running water, heating, or basic maintenance. This has forced the emergence of unofficial markets called Jangbadang, where people trade whatever they can find or make. These aren't black markets selling luxury goods, they're survival markets where families trade homemade soap for vegetables or sell handmade clothes to buy medicine. The prices in these markets are often 10 times higher than official state prices, but when the state distribution system fails, these markets become the only option for survival. Do you spend your few dollars on medicine for a sick child? Or do you buy enough food to prevent the rest of the family from starving? Do you use your monthly earnings to buy cooking fuel, or do you save it for the inevitable emergency that will come when the state system fails again? Officials at every level demand bribes to provide basic services. Want your child to get into a decent school? That'll cost you several months' salary in bribes. Need medical treatment? Better have something valuable to trade with the doctor. If you've watched this far, it means you really care. Don't just stop at the like button, hit the hype too. It only takes a few seconds, but it helps this video reach so much farther. 7. The most formidable military force in Asia. The claim that North Korea could wipe out South Korea with the push of a button is not just an empty threat but a serious possibility. Since 2006, the country has conducted multiple nuclear tests, including one in 2017 believed to be many times stronger than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It is no wonder that even the United States treats Pyongyang's nuclear capabilities with caution. But nuclear weapons are not the only factor that makes North Korea a strong military power. The nation also maintains one of the largest armies in the world in terms of manpower. Its regular forces include about 1.3 million soldiers, ranking just behind China and the United States despite its much smaller population. In addition, there is the Worker-Peasant Red Guard militia, with around 5.7 million members, along with about 600,000 reservists. If fully mobilized, North Korea could raise nearly 8 million troops. Reaching this size is only possible through extremely strict conscription rules. Both men and women are required to serve. Men must stay in the military for up to 10 years, and before 2021, service was extended to as long as 13 years, nearly an entire youth. Women are also drafted, serving as many as 7 years unless they are sick or have young children. 8. The most closed-off capital in the world. Pyongyang is not only the capital but also the largest and most crowded city in North Korea. Around 3 million people live here, making up nearly 12% of the nation's population. But interestingly, living in Pyongyang is not something anyone can choose. To gain residency, a household registration is not enough. You must also have a flawless political record. Only those who are considered completely loyal to the regime are allowed. The city also features the grandest and most modern buildings in the country. Among them, the most well-known is the 105-story Ryuyong Hotel. Pyongyang has an arch of triumph taller than the one in Paris, rising over 60 meters. Opposite it stands the Ju Shower, 170 meters tall, representing the country's official ideology. And if you think the world's largest stadium is located in the United States or Europe, the reality is different. It is in Pyongyang. The Rungrado Day Stadium can hold 150,000 people, enough for parades, festivals, and mass synchronized shows. Pyongyang's metro system has 2 lines, and its stations are decorated like royal halls. There are chandeliers, murals, and polished marble columns. Many stations lie nearly 100 meters underground, designed not only for transportation but also to serve as shelters during emergencies. A day in Pyongyang begins early and with sound. At 6 a.m., revolutionary music echoes from public loudspeakers. People dress properly in work clothes and head to offices or schools in neat order. Life in the capital is steady, organized, and far quieter compared to many other capitals in the world. 9. Backward traffic in Pyongyang. Pyongyang is one of the rare capitals in the world where you can stand in the middle of a wide boulevard, look into the distance, and barely spot any cars. Automobiles are considered a luxury reserved almost entirely for government officials, the military, and a small group of people with strong connections. For most citizens, owning a car is nearly impossible, not only because the cost is far beyond their earnings, but also because of the complex permits required. So how do regular people travel? The answer lies in public transport. Buses and trams are always crowded. Many of the trains in use are very old, some even dating back to East Germany, but they continue to run daily and remain an important part of city life. Because so few cars exist, Pyongyang does not rely heavily on traffic lights like other capitals. Instead, intersections are managed by female traffic officers in blue uniforms and white boots, who guide vehicles with sharp and well-practiced movements. It is said that Kim Jong-un and the country's leadership use this practice to add a sense of beauty to the city. 10. A modern-day harem. Here's something the North Korean government definitely doesn't want you to know about. Both Kim Jong-il and his son Kim Jong-un maintain what's euphemistically called a pleasure squad, but the reality is far more sinister than the name suggests. This is essentially a state-sponsored system of sexual slavery that involves thousands of young women. The selection process is as systematic as it is horrifying. Government officials scout schools and universities looking for the most attractive people. These are told they're being selected for a special honor to serve the leader, but they have no idea what they're actually signing up for. Once selected, they disappear from their families and communities forever. What's particularly sick is that this system is presented as an honor. The families of selected, they are told their daughters are serving the nation in the highest possible way. Some families even feel proud. They're typically married off to low-level officials or security personnel, sworn to secrecy about their experiences. 11. Kim Jong-un's wild modern lifestyle. Kim Jong-un, the current leader, has carried on his family's tradition of living like a king while the people endure hardship. But he has taken this excess even further with a lifestyle that rivals the extravagance of Hollywood celebrities. Kim Jong-un has a deep obsession with luxury and spends enormous sums on his own pleasures. He owns several private jets, lavish yachts, and a fleet of high-end cars that includes Ferraris, Mercedes, and even armored limousines. This stands in stark contrast to a country where most citizens have never seen a car in person. Kim Jong-un has been married to Ri Sol-ju since 2009, but he also reportedly has several mistresses in secret. His wife makes rare public appearances, always dressed elegantly and smiling. However, according to people who escaped from North Korea, she too lives under tight control and cannot act freely. The most shocking detail is the scale of his private parties. Inside his palaces, he hosts lavish banquets with imported alcohol, rare foods, and entertainment. He even brings in foreign chefs to prepare his meals, while the average North Korean receives little more than a small portion of rice, if that. Intelligence sources estimate that Kim Jong-un spends more than $300 million each year on personal luxuries. while the typical North Korean survives on less than $2 a day. 12. Must-visit destinations in North Korea. When people imagine visiting North Korea, most think only of the capital city, Pyongyang. Yet beyond it, the country offers many other sites filled with beauty and history. One important destination is Kaesong, a city close to the South Korean border. It was once the capital of the Goryeo dynasty and still holds many historic treasures. Travelers can see the tombs of Goryeo kings, traditional wooden houses that are more than 600 years old, and the Goryeo Museum, where countless valuable objects are kept. Kaesong is also well known for its traditional meal set that includes more than 10 small dishes served at once, giving visitors a cultural and culinary experience worth remembering. Not far from Kaesong is the demilitarized zone, often called the DMZ, one of the most unusual places on Earth. This heavily guarded line separates North and South Korea and carries both a sense of conflict and fascination. Visitors can step into the Panmunjom Conference Hall, where important talks between the two sides were once held. Walking inside this area creates a mix of curiosity and unease, as only a few steps place you right on the line between two nations long divided. For those who enjoy nature, Mount Myeohyang is an ideal choice. The range is admired for its dramatic scenery, flowing waterfalls, and mysterious caves. It also houses the International Friendship Exhibition, which displays tens of thousands of gifts given to North Korean leaders by world leaders and international groups. Here, visitors can breathe in the fresh mountain air while also viewing one of Asia's most unusual collections. Another highlight is Mount Kumgang, also called Diamond Mountain, among the most famous landscapes of the Korean peninsula. It is divided into Inner Kumgang, Outer Kumgang, and Sea Kumgang, each with distinct views. In spring and autumn, flowers and red leaves cover the slopes, while in winter the peaks turn white under snow, creating a dreamlike scene. Hiking its paths to see waterfalls, clear lakes, and old temples is an experience travelers rarely forget. Further to the north is Ryazan, a city on the border with Russia and China. This area is designated as a special economic zone, offering visitors a rare chance to see cultural exchange inside North Korea. Ryazan has a lively market where seafood, farm goods, and electronics are sold. Tourists can even make purchases with Chinese yuan, Russian rubles, or US dollars, something quite uncommon in the country. 13. Mysterious places in North Korea. One of the most mysterious places in North Korea is Lake Cheon on Mount Chilbo. Found in North Hamgyong province, this small volcanic lake lies in a mountain range already known for its unusual shapes, cliffs rising like pillars and slopes that look as if carved into massive sculptures. Lake Cheon is surrounded by steep cliffs, its waters clear but sometimes turning red or gray during heavy rain, which makes locals believe there is an unseen force beneath. The few visitors who have reached it describe calm days when perfect circles of ripples suddenly appear on the surface as if something is stirring below. North Korean scientists say this could be caused by volcanic gases still escaping, but no clear evidence has been shared. Some South Korean experts believe the lake is fed by strong underground streams linked to an ancient lava system, which constantly changes the water and minerals inside. The greatest puzzle is that no international research has ever been done. What people know comes only from travelers and a handful of photographs. This lack of confirmed information makes Lake Cheon not only beautiful but also deeply mysterious, leaving many to wonder what lies beneath its calm waters. Further north, Mount Paektu is one of the most famous and puzzling landmarks in the country. It is the tallest volcano on the Korean peninsula, reaching more than 2,700 meters, with the vast Heaven Lake resting inside its crater. The mystery is in the lake's sudden changes in water level, which can rise by a meter in only a few days and then fall again just as quickly without any visible streams flowing in or out. Its color also shifts without warning, from deep blue to a cloudy gray. Reports from 2002 recorded small earthquakes under the mountain, along with echoing sounds like far-off explosions. This points to the huge magma chamber under Paektu still being alive, carrying the risk of another eruption. The blast in the 10th century is known as one of the largest eruptions ever, sending ash as far as Japan and Greenland. Beyond the science, Paektu is linked to the origin stories of the Korean people and carries strong political meaning, combining natural power with cultural identity. Yet what no one has explained is why Heaven Lake shifts so quickly, or what the noises inside the mountain really mean. It is this blend of scientific mystery and myth that makes Paektu one of the most fascinating wonders in North Korea. 14. Must-try dishes in North Korea. One of the most well-known foods in North Korea is naengmyeon, or cold noodles. Often eaten during the hot summer, these noodles are made from buckwheat or potato starch, long and slightly chewy, and served in a chilled broth made with beef or chicken, is sometimes mixed with a little kimchi juice to add a sour taste. On top, the dish is usually garnished with slices of boiled meat, half of a boiled egg, strips of cucumber, and fresh pear. Naengmyeon is refreshing yet savory, cooling the body while still being filling. It is a common choice for summer feasts, especially when welcoming visitors, as it shows thoughtfulness and balance in ingredients. The noodles are made longer on purpose to represent a wish for long life, though hosts usually cut them with scissors before serving so they are easier to eat. Another popular dish is bulgogi, the famous marinated beef grilled over fire or on a hot pan. Thin pieces of beef are soaked in a mixture of soy sauce, garlic, onion, sesame oil, and a small amount of sugar to deepen the flavor. When cooked, the meat gives off a sweet, smoky smell and becomes tender and juicy. Bulgogi is often eaten wrapped in lettuce or perilla leaves with grilled garlic and soybean paste, making each bite rich in taste. It is a favorite for family meals, holidays, and gatherings with special guests. In Korean culture, bulgogi shows generosity and welcome, since beef was once rare and saved for meaningful occasions. The way people sit around the grill, sharing the cooked meat, also reflects the importance of togetherness in Korean dining. A simpler but equally meaningful dish is tteok, or rice cake, which is often present at traditional festivals and major events. It is made from sticky rice that is pounded into dough and shaped into different forms, then steamed or rolled in powders made from beans like mung or red beans. Tt is chewy, mildly sweet, and sometimes filled with chestnuts or red bean paste for more flavor. North Koreans usually serve rice cakes at birthdays, weddings, New Year celebrations, and harvest festivals. They are seen as a sign of good luck and wealth, with their white color standing for purity and honesty. When arranged in many colors on a festive table, tteok creates a feeling of both warmth and respect for tradition. 15. Important notes for tourists. The first thing travelers should know when visiting North Korea is that every trip is closely supervised by local guides, usually 2 assigned to each group. Tourists are not allowed to separate from the group or walk alone, even near the hotel. This is because the authorities want visitors to only see approved places, avoiding any unplanned meetings with residents or unapproved photos. There have been situations where curious travelers tried to go out on their own and were quickly told to return, sometimes even asked to write an explanation. For those used to traveling freely, it is important to understand that in North Korea, every activity follows a strict schedule. When it comes to meals, visitors should also be aware of the dining style. Meals are usually served in the same way for everyone in the group without special choices. If someone cannot eat spicy food or prefers a different portion, asking for changes may make the staff uncomfortable. Some tourists bring along snacks like chocolate or cakes, but offering them to local people can be considered inappropriate. It is safer to enjoy these items in your hotel room or within your own tour group. Another point that may surprise visitors is shopping and payment, which usually happen only in stores meant for foreigners. Tourists are not allowed to shop in regular markets or supermarkets. Many travelers who tried to enter local shops were stopped immediately. As a result, shopping in North Korea often feels staged, with products and prices very different from the daily life that locals experience outside these stores. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming journeys.